Let me put it this way. On September 13th, the world almost ended. I don't know what you did this past weekend. Hopefully you went out and you had fun. You were going to die this weekend. You almost died. I don't know if you realize it. Everybody watching this program almost died. I almost died. The world almost died. Why? Because if the insanity of the British government and those in NATO and some in the United States had manifested itself in giving Ukraine the green light to use Storm Shadow missiles against target inside Russia, Russia would have responded. It would have been a decisive response. Possibly not nuclear, but it would have eliminated Kiev as a modern functioning city, and it would have struck targets in the United Kingdom, in Europe, on the European continent, and in the United States. And then we would have probably responded doctrinally by using low-yield nuclear weapons in an effort to escalate, to de-escalate, to send a signal to Russia that you can't do this. And then Russia would have responded doctrinally by releasing the totality of its nuclear arsenal against the West. And then we would have responded and we would have died. 72 minutes is all it takes for the total destruction of the planet. Do you understand you almost died this weekend? I'm not joking. It's not a joke. I'm not kidding. You almost died and you didn't even know it. What are you going to do about it? Do you want to die? Does your audience want to die? Because that's what's going to happen if you do nothing about this insanity. You almost died. The only reason why you didn't die is that Russia sent signals to the United States saying, we are not joking. If you do this, we will act and you will die. And fortunately, Joe Biden, angry as he was, you saw his response when somebody asked him, what do you think about Putin? I don't think anything about Putin. You think everything about Putin because you backed down, because you understood that Vladimir Putin wasn't bluffing, unlike those in England, unlike those in NATO. The Russians aren't bluffing. If you attack Russia, Russia will respond. And it will be a decisive response, one that will trigger an escalation that inevitably leads to a general nuclear conflict. 72 minutes and you're all dead. What are you going to do about it? Let's stop having stupid discussions like, can we empower Ukraine? You're letting Ukraine determine the fate of humanity. You're letting Zelensky determine the fate of humanity. Is this really what you want? To die for Stepan Bandera? Because that's what's happening here, ladies and gentlemen. You've allowed a handful of Ukrainians with a perverted notion of what Ukrainian nationalism means to take control of the mechanisms of your imminent demise. Wake up. Do something before it's too late. Don't wait until tomorrow. Do something now. A signal that could be sent, for instance, is to Germany to tell the United States, hell no to the missiles they want to deploy in 2026. Because if we are fortunate enough to live between now and then, those missiles will get you killed. How about Germany taking the lead to have Europe come up with a new pro-arms control agenda? How about Germany taking the lead to bring an end to this Ukrainian conflict? To get Zelensky out of power so that he doesn't get to threaten all of our lives. You almost died this weekend. I don't know what you were doing this weekend, but it almost didn't happen. And if you didn't die, understand this. You will have wished you had died. But the consequences of surviving a post-nuclear war reality is worse than death. That's my message to the German people. That's my message to the people of Europe. That's my message to my fellow Americans. What are we going to do about this? Stop the stupid discussions about missiles, long-range strikes. Stop a nuclear war. It is the most existential issue of our time, and the time is right now. You almost died this weekend. What are you going to do about it?
In unserem Interview vergangene Woche sprachen wir lange über die politische Lage Deutschlands und die folgenschwere Verstrickung Deutschlands mit der Ukraine. Das bekam Bundeskanzler Olaf Scholz am Montag auch vom kasachischen Präsidenten Kasim Tokajew zu hören bei seinem Besuch in Kasachstan. Tokajew betonte, Russland sei militärisch nicht zu besiegen. Fast wie um das zu unterstreichen, verkündete Wladimir Putin am gleichen Tag die Aufstockung des russischen Militärpersonals auf 2,4 Millionen Mann. Wie bewertest du die Aussage des kasachischen Präsidenten? Ist Russland tatsächlich militärisch nicht zu besiegen und was bedeutet das für Deutschland und die NATO?
Russia cannot be defeated militarily. But the real question is, why do you want to defeat Russia militarily? I mean, does it matter? Do you care that Russia can or cannot be defeated militarily? The real question is, why would you even consider defeating Russia militarily? Russia doesn't pose a threat to you. Listen to what the reasoning was behind Vladimir Putin's decision to enlarge the Russian military. Because the threats against Russia have increased. The threats, that's you, Germany, and your stupidity. Your stupidity. You think NATO can defeat Russia. You've embraced an American policy that speaks of the strategic defeat of Russia using Ukraine as a proxy. How frickin' dumb can you be? You're the dumbest people on the planet after the rest of Europe and the United States. Sort of a toss-up. We're all stupid because we think we can defeat Russia. We can't. Now understand this. Russia can't defeat us. Even with this military that they have, it's not big enough to defeat NATO. The Russian military is designed to do two things: win the conflict in Ukraine and secure Russia's borders against external threats. That's it. It is not an offensive military machine. So again, the question I have to ask people is stop talking about Russia saying or Russia creating the conditions that make sure that it can't be defeated. Why do you want to defeat Russia? Why is that an option on the table? It shouldn't be. And from Germany's perspective, you're the last country in the world that should ever articulate any notion of trying to defeat Russia. You don't have a right to defeat Russia. You don't have the right to be a part of an alliance whose goals and objectives are to defeat Russia. You lost that right in 1945. And you will never regain that right. 27 million dead Soviets assure the reality that you have no rights when it comes to talking about Russia, the military, and national defense. Russia's not going to attack you. Russia's no threat to you. Russia actually wanted to be a partner with you in peace. Russia sold you the cheapest damn energy you're ever going to get. And maybe you're even waking up to that fact. Olaf Scholz, 2 years too late, is starting to talk about a serious investigation because he's paying a political price for this. But Germany needs to be out of any discussion about defeating Russia. It doesn't matter that Russia is making itself incapable of being defeated by Germany. What matters is that Germany thinks it can be part of an alliance that needs to be capable of defeating Russia. No, it doesn't.
Vergangene Woche passierten 2 deutsche Kriegsschiffe die Straße von Taiwan. Zum ersten Mal seit über 20 Jahren. Während Bundesverteidigungsminister Boris Pistorius betont, man habe lediglich die schnellste Route genommen und internationale Gewässer befahren, protestiert die Volksrepublik China mit Nachdruck. Peking spricht von einer enormen Steigerung des Gefahrenpotenzials und dass Deutschland die nationale Souveränität Chinas damit in Frage stelle. Was bezweckt die Bundesregierung mit dieser Geste? Legt sie es tatsächlich auf eine Eskalation mit der Volksrepublik China an, dem nach wie vor wichtigsten deutschen Handelspartner? Und haben die beiden Kriegsschiffe überhaupt einen militärischen Nutzen?
German Navy. Come on, man. Really? You're going to hit me with the German Navy? Two pathetic little German frigates that sail between territory that everybody recognizes as China? It's not international waters. I mean, this is a fanciful definition that doesn't exist. Taiwan is China. The United States recognizes that. The United Nations recognizes that. It's China. They have a problem on how to integrate it. That's a political problem, but it's China. Does Germany have an embassy in Taiwan? Yes or no question. The answer is no. Why not? Because it's part of China. So when the Germans say we're sailing through the quickest way through international waters, they're lying. It's a deliberate provocation. Now, because Germany is totally irrelevant, sinking 2 German ships just wouldn't, it's just stupid. China let it happen. But they're lucky China didn't ram your pathetic little navy. What would happen to the German Navy, by the way, if it did get rammed? Where's it going to go? To the great German naval port of what in the Pacific? Why is Germany a European power sailing ships in the Pacific to begin with? What national security interest does Germany have besides being part of this ridiculous NATO ambition to project itself into the Pacific? Germany was up in Japan playing stupid little German games, playing that there's somehow a world power, that their two pathetic little ships participating in whatever exercise they were doing somehow has a meaningful impact on the global geopolitical balance of power. Germany's no longer a military power. And the idea that Germany can project military power into the Pacific is a joke. And Germany needs to reflect on this. When China shuts down their cooperation with Germany, not if, when, because you've committed suicide, that's the end of everything. China is the only thing that keeps Germany economically viable right now. When the Chinese finally say, click, hit the off switch, it's all she wrote. All your companies will collapse, all your jobs will go away, and you will cease to be a viable, modern nation state. Is it worth sending two pathetic little German tugboats through the Strait of Taiwan? Come on, Germany, wake up. Who came up with this insanity? Pistorius? Baerbock? Scholz? Why are they still in power? I just want to remind your audience, you almost died this past weekend because of this kind of thinking. This notion that Germany has the ability to project military power. You don't have the ability, but more importantly, you don't have the right. I don't know how to make this any more clear. You lost that right in 1945. You don't get to play stupid reindeer games anymore. You're not part of the big team. You lost a war that was being waged by the most reprehensible form of government the world has ever seen. You still need to work to win back the trust and confidence of the international community. You're failing in Ukraine. You're failing with NATO, and now you're failing in the Pacific. Do better. You have political leaders in Germany today who articulate sound, rational policies that don't require Germany to disappear as a nation state. They don't even require Germany to not be a strong leader. Germany should be a strong leader, but the leadership that is demanded of Germany is economic leadership, diplomatic leadership, leadership that recognizes the sins of the past and works never again to allow those sins to manifest themselves in policy. Why did you send two ships through the Taiwan Straits? Why? Every German should be demanding an answer to that question of their government.
Lass uns abschließend beim Thema Marine bleiben. Die US Navy gab kürzlich bekannt, dass sie ihr erstes genderneutrales Atom-U-Boot vom Stapel gelassen hat. Die USS New Jersey wurde extra dafür gebaut, dass sie auch weibliche Matrosen beherbergen kann. Mit getrennten Waschräumen und Schlafkojen mit Privatsphäre für die Frauen. Steve Haller, der Kapitän des U-Bootes, verkündete stolz, dass damit die Vorgaben der US Navy für Diversität und Integration beider Geschlechter umgesetzt würden. Er sprach von einem wahrhaft historischen Moment. Was sagst du zu der politischen Linie der US Navy? Welche Auswirkungen hat es auf die Funktion der Atom-U-Boote, wenn sie genderintegrativ geplant werden? Wie sehen das die internationalen Kontrahenten, etwa Russland und China?
First of all, I don't care what Russia and China think. I don't care what anybody outside the United States thinks. It's none of your damn business. And if you want to come after an American submarine because they have an integrated crew, do so at your own risk. I don't promote violence. I'm not a proponent of war, but if you attack us, we will kill you. We will kill you all. So you think attacking a submarine because it has a mixed crew somehow makes you feel stronger? No. Fortunately, I don't think the world cares. This is an American-only issue. It's an issue that is manifested from the struggles America today has with diversity, inclusion. I have a personal opinion that says that the military should not be the grounds for social experiments, and that if we're going to make an integrated submarine, that it's done only after the consequences of this action are thought out. Does it result in the degradation of combat capability? That's all I care about when it comes to the United States military. The United States military does not need to be, in my opinion, a mirror image of society. Society can function with diversity because society isn't called upon to be lethal in times of crisis. U.S. military is called upon to be the most lethal military service in the world in a time of crisis. Now, if somebody can articulate that this kind of mixed crew, this gender neutral crew, has no impact on lethality, do it. I'm all for it. If that's the direction this country is going, if that's the will of the people, so be it. There will always be dinosaurs like myself who will, be opposed to it. Well, so sad, too bad. Get more votes at the polls. If the American people have spoken and that this kind of diversity, this kind of gender neutrality is the direction we're heading as a nation, and it doesn't impact lethality on the battlefield, then do it. By all means, do it. But again, I'll just reiterate two things. It shouldn't impact our ability to carry our military missions, and it's none of the world's damn business. I don't care what Russians think about this. I don't care what Chinese thinks about this. I don't care what Germans or anybody. It's none of your damn business. This is an American issue, and we, the people of the United States, will figure it out on our own.